What's going on, guys? Welcome back to a brand new video, and today is going to be about Inzaghi. Inzaghi's insane 3-5-2, a quadruple winning tactic, and trust me, this one's absolutely going to cook. If you do enjoy the videos on this channel, be sure to leave a like, drop a little subscription, and be sure to get involved in commenting below what tactic you want to see next. But let's get into the testing phase. So first up is going to be his current team. That is going to be Inter Milan. Now, with this team, my expectation obviously was to win the league. Maybe not to win the quadruple, but it happened. We're going to take it. No complaints from me at all. As we actually don't go invincible. We don't go invincible. We obviously play 38. We win 25. Draw 8 games. Probably the only thing which I would really be trying to get a few of them into wins, maybe look a little bit better. But it is what it is. We won the league. Not the most convincingly. Obviously a point over Juventus. But what makes up for that is the fact we won the Champions League against Arsenal, the Italian Cup against Fiorentina, and the Super Cup against Napoli. I need to get the name fixed because that name always frustrates me. In terms of the league stats, we are going to be looking at 74 goals scored and just 25 goals conceded. And it is going to be Marcus Thuram, a personal favourite of mine in this game, coming in with 29 goals in all competitions. Lorato Martinez coming in with 7.28 with the highest rating, and it's going to be Federico Di Marco picking up the most assists, while Jan Sommer picks up a 97% pass completion. Team stat wise, we're going to feature in quite a fair few of them. It is going to be the most points per game at 2.18. Goals, 74. We love to be seeing that. Most shots at over 600, and also the most clean sheets and the fewest conceded. In terms of the possession, we're going to be not near the top as such, but still quite good, coming in at 55%. And considering this is not a possession-based tactic, I'm going to run with that stat line any day. But going over to the actual squad stats down, we are going to have a very good look, and it is going to be, as we saw on the homepage, Marcus Thuram coming in with 29 goals, and it is going to be Martinez coming in with 28. So these two clearly working very well together at that two up top partnership, which we love to see. Barella coming in with 11 goals as well, very good from midfield, and it is going to be the likes of Hakan with 6, DeMarco with 6, 6, 5, 5. So a lot of goal scorers getting involved in terms of, 5 goals plus, but clearly we are going to, as we would expect, to have two players up top picking up the most and the majority of the goals, which we do expect in a 3-5-2. Traditionally, they are the players that are going to get fed the most, so I'm not going to complain. But what I would say, if you are going to download this tactic and use it, be sure to at least have 3 strikers that can put the ball in the back of the net, because you can't guarantee your players not being injured. So, for example, I know not in this save, but in another one, which you'll see later on in the tactic test, we had one of our star strikers out for the majority of the season, and that really cost us some goals. Assist-wise, though, it's going to actually be really, really good, because we're going to have 4 players coming in with 10 plus assists, and what I really love to see is them strikers in that top 4 as well. Obviously, not only are they there to score goals, they're going to be there to assist each other, which they clearly are doing very, very well. Barella had an incredible season with 12 assists, and DeMarco had an even better season, purely from an assist point of view, coming in with 15. Meter hub-wise, so it's not going to be crazy for goals scored. It not really is going to be making an Inzaghi tactic, let's just be real, but what it is going to be is very defensively solid, coming in at 0.66 conceded per game, bang on 16 shots per game as well, a 90.48 pass completion, a 75.78 tackle win ratio, and basically 2 goals a game. So we're conceding way under a goal a game with this Inter Milan team and averaging towards 2. We love to see that. Next, and in the Serie B, is going to be Sampdoria. Now, this team are predicted to finish in 5th place. My main aim was to actually get promoted, and that is literally what I've done, so I'm actually quite happy. Ideally, we would have won the league. The game is the game, and the results are so similar between us and obviously 1st place. It actually come down to us losing I think it was one of the games away against them. So the league was incredibly tight. Obviously, we made no signings. Maybe if we made a few signings, we could have won the league. But obviously, I'm not going to sign players in a tactic test. What I will say, however, is stat-wise, we were up there as the best. The goals scored at 74 and the goals conceded coming in at 34 as well. So we were very good in terms of actually goal outlet, but also defending, which is really good to see with a team like this. Our highest goal scorer, though, is going to be a little bit lower, coming in with 16, which does tell me there's going to be a bit more of a variety in terms of the goal scorers in this team, which you are going to see a lot with the smaller teams you play with, because obviously you've not got a Martinez up front or a Thuram, so the goals get spread about quite evenly. Maybe there could be 2, 3, possibly even 4 strikers that could get in that team. Obviously, when you're playing with Inter Milan, you've got to have 2 sort of locked options as long as they're fit. But overall, a very good season. Let's go into the team stats. Now, we are going to feature in, I believe that is going to be 5 of the team stats. The most goals is going to be 4 more than 2nd place. The fewest shots against are 309. Quite a few, obviously less than Parma in 2nd place. The most dribbles made, quite a good one to see, considering, you know, this might not be always the most attacking tactic or look the most attacking tactic, so quite good we're getting to see that as well. The fewest conceded at 34, 5 less than obviously Palmer in second place, and also the most clean sheets coming in at 19. And for those possession heads, I will show you as well, 56%. So we know how to pass the ball as well. Data hub wise, it's going to look relatively similar with the goals per game. In fact, I think it is exactly the same, 1.95, so you can expect to see this. I would recommend downloading the attacking tactic or copying it at least, because if you do need to get more goals from this system, that's going to be the way to push us from 1.95 to at least 2.5. That would be one bit of advice. Conceded per game though, 0.89. Very, very impressive. Not conceding too many goals at all. Just over 12 shots a game. We're actually edging towards 13 shots a game. A 90.15% pass completion and attacker win ratio coming in at quite a high 78.58. And I've got to be honest, the last one is going to be Lazio, and in my opinion, the most impressive. I'd actually argue this over the quadruple because they are predicted to finish in 5th place. Obviously, I try and go above and beyond on this channel, so I wanted to get into that top 4, and we have done it by 4 points. But what makes this season an average season, or even getting Champions League, I would argue would be above an average season. But the fact we've won both the Italian Cups against Napoli and Fiorentina, the Champions League, we won't talk about it. We got put against Real Madrid quite early on in the Champions League path, obviously the quarterfinals. We battered Feyenoord the previous fixture. Real Madrid, a bit too much of an arse. But do you know what? Double Italian Cups and obviously getting Champions League for the following season. We're spending no money, etc, etc. We've got to take it. It's an absolutely incredible season. 66 league goals scored, so not the best of the best, but I will say the Italian league, in my opinion, let me know in the comments if you back this opinion or list your own league individually, but I think the Italian league, unless you're playing like we saw with Inter Milan, who are obviously the powerhouse in that league, I think the rest of it is a rat race. Realistically, you've got Juventus, you've got Milan, you've got Lazio, you've got Fiorentina, Atalanta, you've got Roma and Napoli. Like, if these teams, they all, whenever you test with these teams, they all have such a different season. Like Fiorentina, for us, for example, halfway through the save, was actually at the top of the table, live and life. But obviously Juventus clutched up at the end. But in terms of us, I feel like the stats are quite competitive. Definitely the Cups we were really good in, and it is going to be Tati Castellanos, I believe that's how you say that, coming in with 31 goals, Cataldi picking up a 7.18 average rating, and Luis Alberto coming in with 19 assists, who, by the way, is an absolute baller. Team stat wise, we are going to feature in 3 of them. That is going to be the most shots for at 579. One thing I will definitely say is we're not afraid of getting a shot off at goal in this system, which is really good to see, considering, you know, we do soak up the pressure, then directly counter-attack, so you would expect to have shots. So this obviously does show that quite well. The fewer shots against us, which is really impressive, especially beating the likes of Roma, who are a very defensive team, at 249. The most dribbles made at 749. The most clean sheets, and the 2 teams tied first with Inter Milan on the fewest conceded. Possession-wise, we're not going to be at the top, but we do maintain quite a consistent 55%. Data hub-wise, and I believe the least amount of goals we've scored, which was going to be expected, to be honest, because the first team was a powerhouse, the second team was in a bit of a lower league anyway. 1.74, which is still quite good, to be honest. 0.82 conceded, so still way under a goal conceded. Over 15 shots a game, which is really impressive with a team like this. An 89.88% pass completion, so basically touching 90, and attacker win ratio of 76.22. I will say with this tactic, we had a really good time with Lazio. I mean, this is playing Inter Milan. Don't get it twisted. These are obviously 2 saves. One I was Inter Milan, one I was Lazio. Obviously on this one, we are going to be Lazio. And it is actually going to be the first leg of the cup final. One of them anyway. And we absolutely tore them apart. A 4-0 win. Obviously this was our home fixture, but still a very impressive display against one of the better teams in the Serie A. And they've got a fantastic team, man. I mean, it gets better as you go forward, in my opinion. But great play from us down the left, bringing it back into the middle, and nothing the goalkeeper can do. We were absolutely cooking, and this was all done inside before 70 minutes. Past 70 minutes, 2 goals extra as well. Great link-up play again down the left. Now, just to clarify, there's no sort of focus down that left-hand side. Just in this game, clearly that was a weakness for the opposition, and we just took advantage of it, as the last goal is going to be a very good set piece. Champions League final was a little bit dramatic because we got off to such a good start, as you're going to see here, actually inside of 30 seconds. More of a direct approach from Thuram, who dropped quite deep on that occasion. But to be fair to Arsenal, they didn't concede again quite early on, and they did equalise with Martinelli, I believe it was, in the end. Into Rice, into Martinelli, yep, I remember it, into the top right-hand corner, but we kept our cool, and we come and got the goal in the best time possible, in basically the 90th minute before the full-time whistle, and If you want to win a Champions League, it's in that fashion, because the limbs, you're not going to top that. Now, of course, over to your favourite part of the video, that is going to be the tactical breakdown. If you are enjoying today's video so far, be sure to leave a like and definitely consider subscribing to the channel, because we're trying to push for 20k. I also do want to say, if you want to download all 3 of these variants and get early video access, early tactic release, priority in your tactic and rebuild requests, one-on-one tactical help, and to enter the current £50 giveaway that we've got on the Patreon, you can do so by clicking the link in the description and signing up there. We've got over 1,300 of you guys, and here are just some of the names you want to get involved. But let's go over and talk about this fantastic 3-5-2. So we're going to go over the player roles then. We're going to start with the goalkeeper. That is going to be nice and simple. A sweeper keeper is going to come in on defend. Yes, he is a sweeper keeper, but he's not going to be too aggressive. We're not going to have him on attack, for example. Quite a risk-free option. Going over to that back three, obviously a big part of this system. On the right-hand side is going to be a ball-playing defender. On defend, on stay wider. In the middle is going to be a ball-playing defender. Obviously not on stay wider. Impossible to do so on the default. And the left-hand side is going to be another ball-playing defender, simply on stay wider. On the left-hand side, the reason why he's going to be on stay wider is because this wing-back is going to get further forwards and get stuck into the game. That is going to be a wing-back on support on simply mark tighter. Now, the reason why the instructions are minimal on this one is because the only really ones I need is the mark tighter and for him to get further forwards. Now, by default, he's going to get further forwards anyway. I don't necessarily need him to stay wider in this variant, so we're not going to ask him to do so. And on the right-hand side, very common sense, obviously a Denzel Dumfries role. The inverted wing-back, simply on support, on mark tighter. Exact same story for the wing-back as well. We don't need any more instructions because he has 4 by default anyway, so the game is the game. We're actually, yeah, it's 4. 5 in total. Going over to the midfield, it is going to be a register. Quite straightforward, common sense in an Inter Milan team. That is going to be on support, on mark tighter as well. Whenever you're playing a 3-5-2, especially this compressed, but having mark tighter on seems to work really, really well. I tried a little bit of a season without it, then I tried it with a few plays with it on, and the difference was absolutely incredible. So I would recommend playing this way. Going up the field a little bit more is going to be a central midfield player coming in on defend, simply on tackle harder, and next to him, definitely the most attacker midfielder is going to be the Mazzala coming in on attack, on dribble more, and also mark tighter. And that's going to complete your midfield, who are literally the diamond of this team. They are the heart of this team. Every single player plays a massive role in this team, arguably the most important part in my opinion. Up the field is going to be the complete forward on support. Now, for some reason, you don't want to use a complete forward. You could get away with a deep line forward, maybe a target forward, but to be honest, there shouldn't be a reason why you can't have a complete forward, so I would back it if you can do so. And next to him is going to be the advanced forward coming in on attack, simply on shoot more often. Over to the team instructions. This is all going to be based off a clean slate style, by the way, just to clarify that. On the positive, that is the positive mentality. We're going to go narrow with the attack and width, a very compressed way of playing football. Sort of, it makes it very hard to play against, so I will say, there's not many managers that play this way, but Inzaghi, as soon as I saw it, it had to be done. It's literally the only option. In terms of the overlap, it's going to be overlap and left, get the wing back involved, and underlap and right to really get not only Denzel Dumfries, but obviously the other players involved. And it gives us a nice variety in terms of having an underlapping option and an overlapping option. Now, we have got 3 ball playing defenders, so pretty common sense, but of course we are going to play out from the back, play out of defence, quite common sense. Directness is going to be slightly shorter, so it's not going to be the most tiki-taka based tactic. You are going to go direct on some occasions. Some occasions you will play it about pretty short, pretty nice. Now, in terms of the tempo, you'll be glad to hear, because a lot of you guys don't like it when it's the typical maxed out tempo. This one is going to be only on slightly higher, so quite friendly on your players as well. We're going to run at defence, because again, I cannot stress this enough. This is going to be a very direct counter-attacking tactic in terms of the way that it plays in the game, and we are going to go with mixed crosses. Now, going over to the in transition, we are going to have a quick look right now. We are going to go with the counter-pressing style. Again, it's not the most aggressive high-tempo tactic, but I do want the players to fight back for the ball, so that is why that is going to be selected. Of course, it is going to be counter, because that's where the goals come from. It's going to be both of the wing-backs getting stuck in. Also, it's going to be that central midfield player getting involved. Obviously, the Mazzala and the 2 up top. It's a lethal counter-attack, and to be honest, if our counter gets countered, we've got 3 centre-backs back and also that register to break up the play, so it's not the end of the world as well. Very good at preventing being countered from our counter. A lot of counters being said there. We're also simply going to distribute to the centre-backs while taking short goal kicks. Now, over to the out of possession tab. It's going to be quite simple, quite basic. It is going to be the standard, not the higher, the standard defensive line. It's going to be more often on that trigger press, so it does get a little bit more intense in this sort of tab here. Prevent short goalkeeper distribution. Although we haven't got a press and forward forward, we have got 2 strikers up there, so we may as well put a little bit of pressure on their goalkeeper, and we are going to get stuck in. So it is going to be quite an aggressive tactic in terms of putting in the challenge, and if you are getting too many bookings, yellow cards, maybe the red card here and there, you can take this off, but just be aware that it's going to remove a little bit of that intensity in the tactic. So now what I've done, guys, is I've made an attacking variant and a defensive variant. The attacking one is going to be designed to obviously score goals if you're possibly at 0-0 or a goal down, which you can switch to. We're going to cover that right now. So let's go over to and discuss the main changes. So the goalkeeper and the back three are going to remain exactly the same. The inverted wing back is going to gain an instruction. That is going to be get further forwards because he doesn't have that on the default, and I really want him to get stuck in. The wing back on the left is now going to be on run wide and also stay wider, just to provide this very narrow system a little bit more width going forwards, because at the end of the day, the default variant's great. We tested all of the saves with it, but just sometimes staying a little bit wider with one of these players creates another option, and that will mean the wing back is almost going to be hugging the touchline out wide, which is something that we're not usually going to get with that default tactic. In the middle, the register is going to remain the same. The central midfield player on defend gets completely scrapped, as we are going to have a box-to-box on support, on run wide, get further forwards, and also tackle harder. And you might be thinking, Josh, he was on attack, why is he gone back to support now in an attacking tactic? Because we now don't have that central midfield player on defend, so we've got a more attacking option next to him in the box-to-box, so we don't also need this one on attack. He's still going to be attacking, he's still going to dribble more, he's still going to mark tighter, but we're not going to have him on attack as well, because it's going to be way too attacking in that midfield. And now I've decided to go down the sort of meta approach. This is where it goes from being an all-out Inzaghi tactic to trying to get goals for you guys, simply as that. And that is going to actually get scrapping the complete forward and having 2 advanced forward roles. One simply on the default, and on the right hand side on shoot more often. And the only reason this is because that is the best way to get goals in this game. This is by far the best striker role in terms of goal output, so I've simply gone with that because you are desperate for a goal. Simple. In possession, nice and simple. Still going to be narrow. We're going to pass the ball into space. No, not afraid of, going a little bit more direct in this system. This is going to remain exactly the same. The directness is going to remain the same. Obviously, the tempo is going to be maxed out now because we are trying to play a very fast-paced game, get the ball moving, and get some shots at goal. So that is why we've not only got run at defence, but also be more expressive in that creative freedom. In transition, it's going to be super easy, super quick. The only change is going to be distribute quickly because we are trying to get the ball moving. Lastly, out of possession, we're going to max out that trigger press to much more often. We're still going to obviously have pressure on the goalkeeper. We're going to get stuck in, and that standard line goes to a higher. Now let's 360 it, go to a defensive part of the game. That could be whether you're trying to defend the current game you're in or go in against an absolute powerhouse and you're a relegation team. Either you can use this tactic. Again, you can download all of these free on the Patreon, or you can simply copy it word for word. That is exactly why I show you. So the only change which is going to come in, nothing to the back line in the player roles, by the way. The inverted wing back now goes on to defend, so he's not going to be attacking, also on mark tighter. And the wing back on the left, again, is not going to be attacking, not going to be taking passes and risks, and very composed. To be honest, it plays like a back 5 more than the back 3 now, and that is also simply going to be on mark tighter. In the middle, the register goes. We're going to have a bit more security in that team. A ball in the midfield player comes in on support, simply on mark tighter. Up the field a little bit, we have got rid of defensive instruction because we obviously have now got a more composed and a lot less attacking back 3, back 5, whatever you want to say anyway, and also the protection from that ball in the midfield player. So he's not going to be on defend, he's going to be on support, on pass it shorter, take fewer risks, dribble less, shoot less often, and mark tighter. We're now going down a much more possession-based theme in this team to simply dominate the ball and frustrate the opposition, and the Mazzala is going to be on support again on mark tighter. The 2 up top is going to remain exactly the same as the default, so a complete forward on the default on support, and the advanced sword on shoot more often. Going over to the team instructions, the mentality is now going to drop to balanced. That is going to be balanced. Same style, all off the clean slate, by the way, guys. It's going to be on narrow. We've got to scrap the overlap and the underlap as well. We're still going to play out from the back because we have got 3 ball-playing defenders. The directness is going to be dropped from obviously sort of, well, this option here, the standard, 2 shorter, because we are going down more of a possession-based route now to obviously try and hold on to the ball and not really overcommit the play we're trying to do. The tempo is going to be on standard still, time wasting set to frequently. Now if you are going into a game like this, I wouldn't have this on, but if you are trying to defend a game out, definitely have this on. No shame in it at all. We're going to be more disciplined in the creative freedom, and we're going to play for set pieces, while the mixed crosses, I believe I forgot to mention it, remains unchanged in all 3. In transition, a couple of changes are going to happen. We're still going to look for the counter press. Now we're not going to counter in this one because we are trying to hold on to the ball, pass the ball about nice, short and sweet, maintain the possession and frustrate the other team. So we're not going to hit on the counter attack attack, because that literally goes against everything we've got in the player roles and the in possession tab. We're going to slow the pace down, again, only relevant if you are trying to defend a game out, not if you're going into a game like it. So that is purely down to your scenario. We're going to distribute to the centre backs, and we're going to take short goal kicks. And lastly, we're going to roll out the standard line, the high press and line of engagement, standard on the trigger press, and still prevent short goalkeeper distribution. And that is going to give you guys 3 variants of Inzaghi's inspired 3-5-2. Honestly, a ton of fun making this. Hope you guys have enjoyed. If you have, be sure to leave a like, drop a little comment below on any other managers you want to see. And also, I did post a video a couple of days ago on a plug and play tactic, which does also talk through what you should be doing when you're downloading these tactics. If you're noticing a few bad results here and there, what you can tweak, how you should be tweaking them. So it is worth a watch if you're sort of stuck on any of them. Definitely worth a watch. But enjoy the rest of your day, and I'll see you in the next one. And if you guys did enjoy today's video, here are going to be a couple more videos I'm sure you're going to love. Down here, you're going to see my previous video, and here is going to be a video I personally recommend for you guys to check out. Trust me, you're going to love it.